Trudeau has been wasting taxpayer money whining and dining the bureaucrats and fancy people of the global government in New York with Broadway show tickets. Yeah, the Prime Minister's been romancing the globalists in the Big Apple, but not just because he wants to show off on the world stage, you know, Canada's back and some other BS. And not because Trudeau just couldn't give a rat's ass about how much of your middle-class taxpayer money he blows on himself and other already rich people. No, Trudeau has another motive in mind. He wants a seat on the UN Security Council with the despotic maniacs of the world, and he's going to buy that seat for himself with your cash while you see your paycheck shrink and your taxes go up. And one name on Trudeau's Broadway romance a dictator list stuck out. Just watch this.
Records show that one of the sets of Broadway tickets that the Prime Minister bought for wealthy bankers and diplomats was for the permanent mission of Venezuela to the UN. The head of the permanent representative at this mission has been a man who was, among other things, the longest-serving cabinet minister under despot ruler Hugo Chavez, and then served as foreign affairs minister to the ruthless Nicolas Maduro. Can the Prime Minister confirm that the Liberals use Canadian tax dollars to wine and dine this man while Venezuelans starve?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary for Canada-U.S. Relations.
Mr. Speaker, we're glad to have welcomed guests from Newfoundland and Labrador to the Come From Away production. This was to help our American friends, and we're focused on the economy. And speaking of the economy and American friends, we know how to get trade deals done. Mr. Speaker, we've overturned discriminatory coal legislation in the U.S. We've completed CETA negotiations. We've persuaded Mexico and China to end their bans. Mr. Speaker, trade negotiations with the U.S. have not yet begun, but if and when they do, we will be ready.
The guy reading from the cue card and butchering his response to MP Michelle Rempel is General Andrew Leslie. He's been so cucked by the Liberals for a cabinet position. He sold his soul to spout nonsense in the House of Commons in defense of these inept Liberals that I can't even imagine he believes. It's so embarrassing what he's done to himself for power. But Michelle Rempel's right. Here are the documents with the list of people the Liberals, I mean Canadians, bought tickets to the show for. Here it says the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela's delegation to the UN. 2 tickets. But the names are redacted, so a quick Google search shows the head of the permanent delegation from Venezuela to the UN is named Rafael Ramirez Carreño, and he was Hugo Chavez's energy minister. Hugo Chavez, you know, the guy who nationalized the oil industry in Venezuela, and Carreño oversaw it all. Carreño was Venezuela's OPEC representative, meeting with those murderous Islamist OPEC nations on at least 30 different occasions to plot ways to undermine and harm the Canadian energy sector. Yeah, you bought this guy tickets to the show, my unemployed oil patch worker friends. How does that feel? Carreño also served under socialist dictator Nicolas Maduro. Oh, and what's it like in Maduro's Venezuela right now? Well, there's the riots that people keep dying in. Yeah, people are rioting to be free of the Maduro dictatorship, a dictatorship that violates human rights, Aboriginal land claims, and democratic rule. You know, the stuff Trudeau is always pretending like he cares about here. Oh, and then there's the starvation. Venezuelans, on average, lost 19 pounds last year due to starvation and lack of access to food. Store shelves are regularly bare, and the government routinely raids farms and food manufacturers. And people frequently die from being so desperate for anything to eat that they'll eat things that are poisonous to them. Oh, and then there's the dead babies and women. Because of the socialized healthcare system in Venezuela and its collapse, it's driving up infant mortality rates by 30% and maternal mortality rates by 65%. Dead women and babies. And here I thought Trudeau was a feminist. Yeah, Venezuelans are starving to death under an oppressive socialist regime. And what does Trudeau, this self-proclaimed advocate for human rights, do? Well, he schmoozes and feeds the rich globalists charged with propping up and promoting that socialist regime. And he's doing it on the backs of Canadian taxpayers. Instead of standing up for starving Venezuelans who are starving for food and for freedom, Trudeau is feeding their oppressors because he's hungry for a Security Council seat. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunreid. We hold the Trudeau Liberals to account in ways the CBC, with their billions in taxpayer dollars, just refuse to do. To never miss a story, be sure to subscribe to our new Rebel Canada YouTube page.